union, yes! Our union makes us strong.
Hats off to the Clara Lemlich Award Ceremony, the 15th annual. And let me introduce the Clara Lemlich doll to say hello to all of you. She's carrying her shirtwaist kite to stand up, and she says, remember the Triangle Fire of 1911 and examine who made your clothing. Stand up for fair labor. So that's her message as she stands here with me. My name is Audrey Kindred, and I run programming here for Intergenerational Life at the New York Society for Ethical Culture. And we are so pleased to be hosting the Clara Lemlich Awards this year for the first time. It's actually the beginning of Ethical Culture's 150th year. We're entering it just now in May. So it's such an honor, actually, to begin it this way, to begin our 150th year with all of you. Because the New York Society for Ethical Culture has been housing ethical thought, ethical action, ethical relationship for all these years, and we're so glad to do it with you here tonight. So I just want to welcome you. Take a deep breath. Find your comfort here. The bathrooms are downstairs, one flight, men on that side, women on that side. If you have any questions, I'm here to be your guide. Okay? All right. Thank you all. Here we go for a wonderful night.
Well, I have a few things to say tonight. I want to say how fantastic it is that we're all here for the 15th Clara Lemlich Awards. And those of you who've been coming all these years know it's our favorite night of the year, so it's really thrilling to be in this fantastic space also. And we thank Audrey and the people at Ethical. And we want to thank the remarkable Labor Chorus. And Audrey and Don and Ed and all the people at Ethical who made this evening as smooth as possible. So I want to bring up my co-host, Rachel Bernstein, who's LaborArts from LaborArts, and we want to tell you also that this event would not be possible without the Puffin Foundation, which has made it possible for 15 years. So we want to thank Neil and Gladys Rosenstein, and Gladys is going to tell you a little about Puffin very soon. Okay.
But now,
Welcome, everybody.
first, a poem.
Breena Clarke is going to come up on the stage. Breena Clarke, illustrious novelist, is going to read a poem by Audrey Lorde.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here again. This is the greatest place because these are the people. I want to live the rest of my life, however long or short, with as much sweetness as I can decently manage, loving all the people I love and doing as much as I can of the work I still have to do. I'm gonna write fire until it comes out of my ears, my eyes, my nose holes, everywhere, until it's every breath I breathe. I'm going to go out like a fucking meteor.
Thank you, thank you. Somebody who was really a meteor in our Clara Lemlich Awards was Clara Lemlich's daughter, Rita Margulies, who attended every award that she was on this earth for. And I'm delighted to introduce her great-grandson, Michael Miller, who's going to speak a little bit about Clara Lemlich. Michael.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Rachel, Esther, Audrey, LaborArts, and the New York Society for Ethical Culture for hosting this incredible event for the 15th year. It's an honor to be here on behalf of Clara Lemlich's family. Though I never met Clara Lemlich, myself, my great-grandmother, her story has always been alive in my family. I grew up constantly reminded of how she was an immigrant, a firebrand, and above all, a fighter. I heard stories of how she taught herself Russian in secret, earning money sewing buttonholes to buy her own books, and how she later became a fearless labor organizer in the garment factories of New York. At just 23 years old, Clara helped spark the famous Uprising of the 20,000, the largest strike of women workers in US history. In a packed union meeting at Cooper Union, Clara stood up and called thousands of young immigrant women to rise up against dangerous working conditions and brutal hours in the city's sweatshops. Because of her activism, Clara was arrested, beaten, and even hospitalized after having her ribs broken. But to no one's surprise, she returned to the picket lines within days. What has always stayed with me is that despite these hardships, Clara never stopped. For Clara, activism wasn't just a part of her life, it was a lifelong effort. She fought for suffrage, led rent strikes, protested rising food prices, and even in her 80s, she organized the nurses in her own retirement home. That activist spirit remained alive through her daughter, my grandmother, Rita, an honoree herself here in 2011, who grew up surrounded by the rhythms and sounds of protest and organizing. For Rita, like her mother, activism was a lifelong effort. She spent her life's work building a housing program for low-income seniors in Queens, serving on its board into her 90s. For me, what keeps Clara's legacy alive isn't just about big moments, it's everyday acts of courage. It's about speaking up when you see something wrong, looking out for your neighbors, and refusing to accept injustice. And I see that same spirit alive in the incredible women we honor today. Lifelong champions of peace, dignity, and equality, making sacrifices without seeking the spotlight. On behalf of my family, I want to extend a sincere congratulations to this year's nominees, and thank you for carrying this important tradition forward.
It's my very great pleasure to bring up my friend Gladys Rosenstein, who Gladys and Neil and the Puffin Foundation have made this possible for 15 years. Gladys?
Thank you, Esther. Oh, it's so wonderful to see all these wonderful faces out here, and especially wonderful that we were able to help support these outstanding women who spent most of their life, I'm sure, working for a better place for everyone, and for continuing to do it as long as they can and keep going on. It's wonderful. And I know that our foundation is especially happy to be able to support them. And Esther asked me to tell you a little about our foundation called the Puffin Foundation. When my husband's first wife passed away, he decided to name the foundation in her honor, and she loved birds. And the Puffins at that time were living on an island off Maine, and then suddenly they disappeared, and there was a scientist who was determined to bring them back there. And my husband Perry's wife helped support them, and they did come back. So the foundation is named Puffin and really has very little to do with birds. But we do follow his lead. He was wonderful and always an activist, probably from the time he came into this world. And he wanted to do something to help this world be a better place and develop this wonderful foundation that gives to people who are interested in developing ideas, working for, and being part of making this world a better place to live in. We give funds to people who have never had funds before, but have something wonderful they would like to participate in. And we give to likewise organizations who are working for a better place as well. We started out really relatively small, taking advertisements that we give minor grants to people. And the first year we were able to give 18 grants award. We now give thousands every year. And of course we have developed way beyond my husband's first idea of just theater, music, since he loved that so much. And we did start giving art grants and music grants if they had something important to say. Today we have enlarged the scope of what we do, and we give to people working in the climate change and the environment. And really, people write to us with very wonderful ideas of working towards a better world, and therefore we make a judgment and give them what we think will help them along the way, and has. We started this 30-odd years ago, and it was a very small foundation, hardly known, and now it's all over the United States and other countries as well. So we're very happy. His son Neil is the president and is doing a wonderful job. Is his father's boy. He's right here. So Neil, stand up. I think you're worth a clap. And
you can bring it on. Thank you, Gladys, and we're thrilled to be able to introduce the first honoree.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, beautiful people. How are we doing tonight? Well, today, sun is still up. So I'll be introducing Chesray Delphi. She is a South African-born stage director who works with incarcerated women to tell their stories. She is a stage director that is a one-time Tony-winning award for Tina Turner on Broadway, and currently nominated for producing Gypsy with her team. She has accreditations from Princeton, Columbia, and Yale, and she is a storytelling strategist whose creative works drive ongoing change and inspire so many, including myself. I hope she inspires all of you. Chesray Delphi.
Good evening, beautiful people. Good evening, beautiful people. Yes. Firstly, we plan to have our hair colors match. I just want y'all to know that. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is such a joy to be in this beautiful room with so many smiles and social justice love, and I couldn't be more excited to be introducing our honoree tonight. This is really a full circle moment for me to introduce the phenomenal Rudean Leinaeng tonight. When I think about the journey that brought me here, from growing up in a township on the Cape Flats in South Africa to standing on this very stage in New York, I know without a doubt that a woman like Rudean made that path possible for women like me. Rudean is a chemist, okay, an educator, an anti-apartheid activist, and a lifelong freedom fighter. But more than that, she is someone who loves her values with power and just a boundless heart. She began teaching at Bronx Community College in 1967 and spent 30 years showing students, especially women of color, that they belonged in science. She believed in making education not just accessible, but joyful. She made chemistry feel less like a wall and more like a door. She made her students feel seen and believed in. In 1974, she took her 2 sons and moved to Tanzania, where she taught chemistry and physics while marching for African liberation. Okay, global girl, yes. And if you know Rudean, you know that how much she loved Tanzania with and its radical political agenda. She didn't just teach science, she loved solidarity. She believed in ujamaa, that deep communal care. She practiced it wherever she went, and that's clear. When she returned to New Rudern, she married Chesray Leinaeng, who I heard is a very handsome man, a South African activist who was in exile. Together they turned their Bronx apartment into a sanctuary. It became a home for a lot of South African freedom fighters, offering safety, warmth, strategy, and I'm sure there was some good food. That living room held the spirit of resistance and family all at the same time. Rudean also became deeply involved with Women for Radical and Economic Equality, organizing local boycotts, helping write a Women's Bill of Rights, registering voters, tabling for civil rights legislation, and distributing resources for women and femmes. She showed up again and again and again, not just for the spotlight, but because justice called, and she always answered. And when I asked her what mattered the most for her tonight, as we were wrapping up a call and we were getting to know each other more, I said to her, Rudean, is there anything that I have to say tonight that feels important to you? And she said to me, I'm happy to get an award tonight, but I think about all the women, all the organizers that are not on the stage tonight, all the people whose labor we don't get to see, who work on street corners, who work in church hallways, who work in synagogues, who work all over the city to organize labor and social justice for people with all kinds of identities. And I thought to myself, it really speaks to your heart, Rudean, if I had to be honest, that even in a moment when we're honoring you, you think about your community and people who've come before you. You talked about the legacy that you stand on and that I now stand on too. And I can say with lots of love and conviction in my heart that Rudean is a woman that you want next on your side when you're fighting for any kind of cause. This is the girl you want to call up, okay? This is the person you want to organize with, because her love and conviction was always grounded in radical freedom for everyone. Rudean Leinaeng, welcome. And congratulations. And also, please, you have to give it up for Rudean's dress, because it's a beautiful outfit. Thank you so much. Can I give you a hug?
Well, I don't need to really say anything, but she's told everything. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm deeply grateful to the Clara Lemlich Committee of LaborArts for this honor, and extend my congratulations to my fellow awardees. I also wish to express my gratitude to Georgia Weaver, part of the chorus there, for nominating me, Chesray for giving me that incredible introduction. I don't recognize the person, but anyway. Sorry, okay. And my sons, Thomas Allen Harris, and Lyle Ashton Harris, and my sister, Laura Johnson, for their unwavering support throughout the years. When I heard about this award, I thought about my parents. I was raised in a loving home and Bethlehem Church where folks believed in helping their neighbor, whether they were next door or abroad. My father instilled in us the value of education and often spoke of his connection to Africa. These principles have guided my decisions and choices, and I am very appreciative of the experiences I've had as an activist. When I was a student at Hunter College and also at NYU Graduate School, there were few women of color, or even men, in my chemistry class. Chemistry seemed to frighten students. After graduate school, I accepted a teaching position, as Chesray said, at Bronx Community College, where I taught students who had to pass chemistry in order to continue their curriculum. Some were in nursing, others in biology. I strived to make my courses understandable and also taught them methods of studying and problem solving. I told them that if they worked hard, they could master the subject, and most of them did. In 1974, I accepted an offer to teach chemistry in Tanzania, a country that desperately needed science teachers. I had always wanted to go there since I learned about President Nyerere's policy of Ujamaa, cooperative economics. During my 2 years at Zanagi Secondary School for Girls in Dar es Salaam, I implemented some of the methods that I had developed previously. I had to be innovative because textbooks were in short supply. Nevertheless, students in my senior chemistry classes worked diligently, and many passed the National Chemistry Exam. I was also involved in extracurricular activities with the students. For example, my students and I organized a successful African fashion show benefiting South African refugee children in Tanzania. My sons, who attended local schools, not only made friends, but also learned the Swahili language and culture. I wasn't really good at the language. It was a life-changing experience. After returning to the US in 1976, I married Lorde Leinaeng, a South African exile and a member of the African National Congress, and worked beside him in the anti-apartheid movement. At the same time, I joined RE, Women for Racial and Economic Equality. Together, we lobbied, marched, protested, organized forums to demand economic and social justice as outlined in RE's Women's Bill of Rights. During the 1970s and 80s, I helped RE to organize the annual South African Women's Day program, August 9th, which commemorated the bravery of 20,000 South African women who marched against the apartheid government in 1956. There are two other experiences I'd like to briefly share. I know I'm over time, okay? In 2019, I published a historical novel, Cold War and Love, about my paternal grandparents. My grandfather was a Harlem Hellfighter during World War I, and my grandmother single-handedly protected her children when the deadly Spanish influenza swept through Albany in 1918. Currently, I'm participating in a new film my son, Thomas Allen Harris, is producing, titled My Mother, the Scientist. The film encourages young people of color to pursue careers in the STEM fields. Given the present-day attacks on science and scientists, This film will be extraordinarily timely and important. To the young people here, I urge you to follow your passions and continue to work for justice, equality, peace, and freedom. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Okay, my name is Djeneba Toure, and I am a senior in high school. And I am so happy to be here today. Today, I'm introducing someone who truly needs no introduction, but needs must. Born in the US to Zimbabwean father and a mother from the Mozambique, Simba Mafundikwa was raised in Zimbabwe and later trained as a designer and filmmaker in the US. He was given a special lens on life, a special philosophy that shaped his worlds, one rooted deeply in the beauty of African tradition, and the other that gave him an international lens to reimagine what design could be. Simba has become the lens for the future African designers to look through. And as someone who belongs to the African diaspora, I find him to be a true visionary. As his father was the founder of ZIVA, the Zimbabwean Institute of Visual Arts, established in 1999, Simba was able to attend this school and established his goal to creating a space where young African designers can learn to respect tradition, understand it, and make it their own. He unapologetically believes in a future where African design is global and righteously respected and recognized. Whether through his TED Talks, his work on projects like Africa Promise, and workshops that shifted the narrative of African creativity, Simba continues to preach in the continent of Africa and internationally a bold message where design is rooted in truth, legacy, and fearlessly innovated. Join me in welcoming and celebrating Simba Mafundikwa, visionary designer, educator, and proud cultural ambassador of African design.
Good evening, everybody. It's my absolute pleasure to be here to introduce my grandmother, Rashidah Ismaili AbuBakr, whom I affectionately call Mami Rashidah. I've been told to keep this brief because there's delicious food afterwards, so we need to get to that. But speaking of food, that's exactly where I want to begin, telling you a little bit about Mami Rashidah. We bonded at her dinner table over many years with her stories and anecdotes as diverse and tasty as the food she cooked. I learned so much about her life in Benin and Nigeria, time spent in South Africa, the Lower East Side, Harlem, and trips to Curaçao to visit her lifelong friends, to name a few. Mami Rashidah is an amazing cook and has always welcomed people into her home to share a meal. But what she serves extends far beyond nourishment of the body. The richest conversations are had in her living room, where creatives, friends, family from around the world commune. I have learned through her life experiences the importance of building your own community, especially in a land that is foreign and without immediate family. When you step into her home, you are entering more than just a living space. You are walking into a museum of memories, an archive of family history, a gallery of life's beautiful moments, and most importantly, a space for meaningful connection and new beginnings. I am in awe of Mami Rashidah's grit and activism. She is consistently put herself at the front lines of change, using her voice and her pen as weapons for peace and justice on the African continent, in the US, and the world. Her dedication to fighting injustice has been unwavering throughout her life. She has taught us that activism begins first at home and then extends to a global community. Mami Rashidah has impacted my life and the lives of countless others in profound ways. She is our matriarch. Walking in the streets of New York with her, you will see that she's always greeting people, willing to talk to and brighten somebody's day. She takes pride in her community and does not shy away from an occasional scolding if someone shows disregard. She continues to inspire both young and older generations with her wisdom, generosity, and unwavering spirit. Tonight, as we honor her with this well-deserved recognition, I invite you all to experience what I've been blessed to know my entire life. I've said this many times, I want to be like her when I grow up. Mami Rashidah, congratulations on your award and recognition. May you continue to receive blessings for the light you shine on us. Thank you.
There is a line in the play, Fiorella. My heart is so full of you, so full of you. That's how I feel. All of you, you are such an inspiration to see so many people come out, knowing that you are a history that I now am a part of. And this is what makes the human being, the human race, such a marvelous creation. All of us cannot be if one is not. And if we are here, then we must believe that there are others somewhere else who feel like us. We are not the only ones who have righteous anger, who want to see social justice. And so we have to find those connections. Rudern, I know from her work, I've worked with her, but her son went to Pratt Institute, and because she was using this, I'm used to Harris, I wasn't used to, so when Thomas comes in, he says, look at you. I mean, that kind of a connection. So that's wonderful. The Puffin Foundation at one point gave me an award, a grant, so that I could go to an international women's playwriting conference. Without those funds, I wouldn't have been able to put the money together to go. All of these connections, the ethical culture has all of this history beyond the 150 years, just the immediate history that I know. So we are in a historical moment, and it is very important because we are also in an anti-historical moment. And it is human beings who make history. And we don't want our lives to be determined by the anti-social justice that we see prevalent in the world. It is the communion of all of us here tonight that makes the struggle sweet and possible, and we mustn't betray it. To start with Audrey Lorde was so wonderful, and I appreciate that you did that. Audrey was a sister to me. When I wrote a collection, Missing in Action and Presumed Dead, she was going to write the foreword, but she never told me how
close her cancer was to its final stages. So I called one Sunday to say, I mean, how do you call Audrey Lorde and say, could you please hurry up? You can't do that to somebody like her. So I was trying to be diplomatic and find the right way to say it. And I called at a moment when her friends were actually doing bed watch because she was eminently leaving the world. And she said something that I never thought of before. She talked about the process of dying. And she said, I've lived, I've done, and I'm ready, I'm okay. But these people, and the people who were holding her back were the people who loved her because they didn't want to have her go, to let her go. And she said, I will go if they let me go. And I understood this balance between the living and the dying and loving, and how do you let go when you love, when you want that person physically in your life. And that's also part of life. Death is a part of life. It's not some morbidity that we should do all these horrific things that we're doing to withstand it. I just want to say 2 or 3 things about myself as a quote activist and writer. I take my inspiration from people like Audrey, but also from Paul Robeson, who talked about how for him, there was no choice. If he was to be an artist, he said he had to be an activist. And if he was an activist, he was also using his art at the highest level that he was capable of. And so for me, there is no distinction between my activism and my work. I try very hard to encode my work with somebody, a name, an event that marks an activist situation. And so I try in my way to respect and honor those historical presences by doing the very best I can. Amiri Baraka said, the goal of a writer is not necessarily to be published, but to do the work. You have to write something if you want it published. And it sounds silly, okay. And it sounds like very trivial, but it's very profound. I think sometimes now we want to be published and then we write it afterwards. But now, here we are in this moment where the unions are being attacked. Union meaning unification, and false divisions are being created. There is no division, as far as I'm concerned, in the Abrahamic faiths. A Jew, a Muslim, a Christian are bound by Ibrahim, and I reject anybody, whoever he or she is, to try to create a division between those 3 religions. There is none. Okay. And so my work in interfaith tries to reflect that. At the same time, if you bleed, I bleed. If I bleed, you bleed. So everybody's blood is precious. Everybody's blood counts. Everybody counts. That's on one activism. As far as African people are concerned, African people were the first, and we will be the last. That is for sure, for sure. Victoria is certa. So I ask you to think about that. Think about this little person whose grandmother did not read or write, but who told me that I was the great thing and that I had a mind. That grandmother's daughter is standing in front of you now. My mother, who waited almost 40 years to give birth to a girl because she couldn't conceive. That mother's daughter is standing in front of you. I have one child born from me. That is my son. I have grandchildren from other people's mothers. That is Simba. I know Simba before he was even born. His mother came to me when she was 18 or 20, something like that. And she has been my daughter all these years, and I'm grateful to have her as a daughter. And now you are a part of my family, and I embrace you. That does not mean that I will accept everything that you do, because if you want me to do something, I have to ask it of you. What you ask of me, I try to give. What I ask of you, you try to give. I appreciate this honor. I appreciate being in your presence, and I thank you so much for the honor.
Thank you. You're beautiful.
I'm sorry,
You're beautiful. Beautiful. Can I ask if Dr. Elizabeth Lorde-Rollins is in the room? Present. Oh, great. Can you come up? Can you sit on this? Sit up here. It's my honor to be able to introduce one of the most famous singers in South Africa, Lana Crowster.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here today, especially as listening to these incredible stories and being a woman from Cape Town who always dreamed of living in New York and performing in New York, now getting to do that. So this is so inspirational. I'm going to keep dreaming / being delusional, and more great things are going to happen. So the next song this song I'm going to sing for you is a classic. It's by Sam Cooke, and it's called A Change Gon' Come. Hope you enjoy.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know that a change gon' come. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what goes on beyond the sky. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown. All the people around me say, please don't hang around. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me right back down to my knees. Oh, there've been times when I thought I wouldn't last very long, but I couldn't think where I belong. It's been a long, long time coming, and I know that a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hazel Kaminsky, and I'm an 11th grader at LaGuardia High School. So yesterday, I had the absolute pleasure of speaking with Dr. Elizabeth Lorde-Rollins, a remarkable feminist, physician, educator, and activist. From a very early age, Elizabeth knew that she wanted to be a doctor. And initially, she told me that she chose to go into pediatrics. However, after switching to OBGYN rotations and getting the chance to deliver a baby her very first night, she discovered her passion and excitement for that particular field of medical work. Elizabeth graduated from Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1993 and completed her residency at Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center in 1997. She later focused on adolescent gynecology at the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, which treats patients regardless of their ability to pay. There, she was inspired by the diverse cross-section of young people and was also involved with research on the human papillomavirus. When I asked Elizabeth how she sees her medical work as an extension of her social justice values, she spoke about her deep-rooted belief in patient empowerment, a principle that she learned from her mother, Audrey Lorde, through her battle with breast cancer. Elizabeth told me that she is still in touch with patients that she treated 25 years ago, with them reaching out with questions and asking for advice. She calls herself a community and political worker, describing her work as personally rewarding and extremely humbling. After specializing in adolescent medicine, she returned to general practice in 2014, which she has been doing ever since. Thank you, and please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Lorde-Rollins.
Great job. Wow. Yeah, speaking with Hazel yesterday really inspired me. Oh, Mike, can people hear me? Yeah, speaking with Hazel yesterday really inspired me, and wow, it's just such an honor to be here. To the organizers of the Clara Lemlich Awards, esteemed award recipients, and guests, good evening. I am so grateful to stand before you and introduce my godparents, Blanche Wiesen Cook and Clare Coss. As I reflect on Clara Lemlich, just 6 years in the US and 23 years old, standing up in a meeting of garment workers and interrupting the venerated male leaders of the union movement to shout, "I have something to say," in Yiddish, I think, yes, this is something both Blanche and Claire would do. And why I think this honoring is even more befitting, both Blanche Cook and Clare Coss have spent their lives inspiring others, particularly women, but not just women, to find our voices. As a biographer, Blanche Cook has laid bare how historical figures of very different stripes, Eleanor Roosevelt, Crystal Eastman, Dwight David Eisenhower, had to break their own personal chains before they could set about working for change. In her classroom, Professor Cook has been creating the space for generations of students' voices and moving those students off their ingrained spots by any means necessary to get them using those voices. As a therapist, Clare Coss has inspired her clients to use their voices for personal growth, liberation from the inside out, the profound politics of self-realization and truly becoming the people our hearts desire. She has expanded this intensely personal work as a playwright, from the Daughters cycle in the 1970s to her current play and opera, Emmett Down in My Heart, about the lynching of Emmett Till and the struggle of the white woman who bears witness to his massacre. It is my great honor to introduce my godmothers, Blanche Wiesen Cook and Clare Coss, who have something to say. Say it. They say what they have to say, and they impress upon all of us how imperative, how valuable, and ultimately how inescapable it is to do the same. Thank you.
It's really so great to be here. It's wonderful to look out and see all of you and the fabulous choir and chorus, and know that we're in a room filled with activists. Well, how wonderful is that? It's wonderful. So Blanche and I met in 1966 at the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom to plan an action against the war in Vietnam. And we were both married ladies then. And Blanche always says she likes older women, and I wanted to ask her a question tonight. Am I old enough for you now?
Almost.
Almost. Okay. But it's been an incredible journey to be activists with our family, our friends, and building community. I worked with some youth theaters to give voice to them, and that was what I was doing in my practice, for people to learn to have a free mind so they can make the right choices for their lives and for the common good. Do you want to say something?
I'm so profoundly moved to be here. I always say never go anywhere without your gang, because I'm from the Bronx. And the Purdy Street Gang and the Fordham Daggers were my gangs. And here you are. Peace Action is here, WILF is here. The Union is here. The PSC is here. And in the Bronx, my daddy was a trolley car driver and a bus driver, and I would go to Transport Workers Union meetings. And one of the great honors of my life was when the PSC, I was on a committee and I was given a cap, and the cap they gave me was a TWU cap to thank me for my union work. So never go anywhere without your gang. And there's so much to say. I don't know how much time we have, but you have something you want to read.
I do. I have something I want to read. It's the ending of a play. It's the ending of a play. It's called Love and Defiance, Scenes from the 20th Century, that Woody King Jr.'s New Federal Theater and Julia Miles at the Women's Project co-produced here in New York. It's about 10 scenes that have some connection to somebody in my life or my own connection. It goes from the Cold War in the 50s to the Amadou Diallo demonstrations of the 90s, from the Cuban Missile Crisis to Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas hearings. It's kind of a lively cascade of private moments shaped by public events. So Lynn and Dan have a relationship that started in the 30s, and now they're getting ready to go on a demonstration for Amadou Diallo, who was a young man from Guinea, and he was 23 years old, and he went down to have a cigarette in front of his apartment, and the police were cruising around, and he went into the entrance of his building and was taking out his wallet to show him the police's ID. And this one cop said he thought he was taking out a gun. 41 bullets from 4 cops, and they were not found guilty. And it's a case that's still present in all of our minds for the miscarriage of justice and the kind of crazy violence that's going on. So Lynn says to her husband, Dan, the world is a mess. You and I have failed. I've lost heart, Dan. Hey, look what we're doing today with our grandchildren. Doesn't that give you hope that they care, that they take action? I had wanted to leave the world a better place for my having been here. Hey, from the day we met at the Russian tea room, closed now for renovation, we've marched, we've demonstrated for justice, the Rosenbergs, Mississippi Freedom Summer, the March on Washington, Vietnam, ERA. It's getting worse, Dan. I feel so defeated by all the killing. Imagine what we are protesting today. A man goes down to his lobby for a cigarette. 4 cops later, 41 bullets. Too much violence, too many guns, even children slaughtering children. Lynn, our lives, we have devoted our lives to help make this country fulfill its promise. We have to keep moving forward or everything slides back. Are you ever going to trust me? I do trust you, Dan. Our whole life together, and last night you didn't trust me. I do trust you. So look into my eyes. You know what I see? What? I see Littlefoot. He's 3.5 million years old. What's he doing? He's climbing down the trunk of a tree. Now he's walking upright. He's climbing back up to a high limb and looking down on us. You should have been an anthropologist. I'm going to look away. Not yet. His foot bones just discovered in a South African cave, a creature who walks and climbs, a missing link. We came down from the trees. Maybe we'll have to return to the trees. Maybe we will, if there are any trees left. Remember, when they put the handcuffs on, squeeze your fists together so they won't be too tight. They're detaining people for 8 hours. I'm afraid you're going to have to pee. Oh, I'll be all right. Go one more time. Oh, all right. Okay, ready. Scary. Scary. Always is. Always will be.
I would like to end on a little positive note. As we say, never go anywhere without your gang. I've been fortunate to be in many gangs, including the gang that Frances Golden put together. Frances Golden, great visionary editor. She wasn't my editor, but she was a visionary friend and pal, and she did this book. Imagine living in a socialist America, a socialist USA. And I have a chapter in that book. It's called Dignity, Respect, Equality, Love. And it's possible we can achieve that. And Eleanor Roosevelt had a vision for how to achieve it. She fought for women's rights, civil rights, human rights, convinced that to end war, we must end poverty and have a universal declaration of human rights that applied to every human being all over the planet. And Eleanor Roosevelt died in 1962, and the legacy goes on. And during the 70s, there was a wonderful wave of feminist socialists that included two friends and mentors of mine. One was Dorothy Healy, who's a great activist, and we became very close in LA when UCLA was trying to steal me away from John Jay, but even though they offered to double my salary and give us a housing allowance, John Jay was really my school. And I have to say, I've just retired after 60 years of teaching. But Dorothy Healy, great activist, journalist, radio broadcaster, who lived a fighting life, said to me one day, "I don't get ulcers. I give ulcers." And then Annette Rubinstein, scholar, activist, editor. Claire wrote about Annette Rubinstein, and you can look up her wonderful interview with Annette Rubinstein. But Annette Rubinstein always said, "We will have socialism, or we will have barbarism." And here we are.
And she always said, life is about the struggle.
And life is about the struggle. Never go anywhere without your gang.
Each more inspiring than the next. Thank you all. We like to have a report from today's front lines in our program of honoring activists of the past. And for that, I would like to introduce Xiomara Loarte, who's the community outreach person at the New York City AFL-CIO Central Labor Council. She's a Peruvian American, and she's here to speak briefly about immigration in the moment, which is a serious issue.
Good evening, everyone. As Rachel mentioned, my name is Xiomara Loarte. I am the Community Outreach Director at the New York City Central Labor Council, first-generation Peruvian American, and the intentionality of my role shouldn't be lost on many of you here today, because we all should know that the diversity in our movement is really our strength. And as we entered very, very troubled and hard, adverse times this year, the New York City labor movement has risen to the occasion in many ways. And I don't want to bore you with the stats, but in the short months of this year alone, we have given over 45,000 Know Your Rights cards in 12 different languages. We are truly rising to the occasion and meeting the moment. We are against fierce opponents who want to steep our solidarity in hatred and injustice, and we cannot let that happen here in New York City, nor anywhere in this country. And with a strong labor movement, we know that that won't be possible. And we stand in solidarity with our immigrant brothers and sisters and union siblings like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was kidnapped from his family and sent to a prison in El Salvador and has not been returned as of today. Or if we're talking about our siblings in Western New York that just over the weekend were picked up by ICE agents, but they were more than siblings. They were farm worker leaders fighting for organizing rights on the farms in Western New York. these are not coincidental. This administration and the government and the times that we're in are seeking to divide us and are seeking to convince us that we are divided and we do not have unity, which is not true at all. And so in times like these, I think that we are reminded and we are appreciative of the silver lining in these dark times, and that is that our spirit of activism has been reawakened. Last week was International Workers' Day, and New York City had a strong demonstration of collective power, not just within the labor movement, but with our community allies, where we will stand firm and we will take on any fight that is aiming to divide us and that is very much deepened in hatred and injustice. So with that, I say that an injury to one is an injury to all. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Rosanne Lemoigne, and I am also an 11th grader at LaGuardia High School. Today, it is my great honor to introduce to you Carolann Solebello, a lifelong musician and artist. Carolann was born right here in Brooklyn and is a founding member of the Americana trio Red Molly. Today, she continues to make music both as a solo artist and with the modern folk collective No Fuss and Feathers. Carolann's journey as an artist has always gone hand in hand with purpose. Witnessing injustice throughout her adult life has only deepened her commitment to making meaningful art and music. As a proud union musician and member of AFM Local 1000, she stands firmly for workers' rights and artistic integrity. Tonight marks Carolann's first time attending the Lemlich Awards, and she is here with deep pride to introduce her lifelong friend, fellow musician, and tireless activist, Bev Grant.
Thank you, Rosanne. That was wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Hi, good evening. I met Bev Grant on a very bad day. I had failed to convince the manager at Guitar Center to buy an oh-so-slightly used guitar amplifier from me. Apparently, what a working musician might consider a minor cosmetic flaw was far too glaring an imperfection for America's favorite big box music store. But I digress. So, I was about to haul my unsold amplifier out of the store and back to the subway when I heard a voice behind me. Hey! Are you Carolann? Yeah? I'm Bev Grant. I think we have some mutual friends. Now, although we had never met, I most certainly knew that name. Bev's reputation as a songwriter, as a performer, and as a general mover and shaker absolutely preceded her. But how in the world did she know my name? So I stopped, because Brooklyn really is nothing but a big, small town. So, yeah, it still is in a lot of ways, weird. And though I couldn't know it then, the warm and friendly conversation, although very brief, that I shared with Bev that day would change the rest of my life for the better. Because Bev Grant has a way of noticing. She sees details that other people miss in the world around her. And that gift, among many, many others, is reflected and magnified in her photography, her storytelling, her music, her activism, and perhaps most importantly, in her way of relating to people. She is uniquely capable of finding points of commonality and connection and spinning shared ideas into positive actions that ripple out and multiply like sound waves. Bev had noticed me on the local music scene, and before I knew it, we were teaming up to attend a weekly writers' gathering, curating a monthly music series, collaborating on stage, and best of all, cultivating a true and lasting friendship. Now, Bev has touched many lives, worn many hats, and accomplished a great deal in her life thus far, and I know that she will continue to pursue her passions and choose her own adventures in the coming years. But you're not here to listen to me. So, it is with deep respect, admiration, and great joy that I give you my Local 1000 union sister, colleague, collaborator, mentor, and cherished friend, 2025 Clara Lemlich honoree Bev Grant.
Wow. Thank you so much. When Esther called me to tell me I'd received the Clara Lemlich Award, I was reminded how influential she was in pointing me in the direction of the labor movement. I'd already been writing and singing social justice music for over 20 years, beginning with some parodies I wrote for the Miss America beauty pageant protest in 1968, when I was a member of New York Radical Women. And 20 years beyond that, I led a band called The Human Condition. It was now 1991. I had just started a new job. I didn't have my band anymore. I ultimately retired from that job 17 years later. I was assistant to the executive director of a not-for-profit criminal justice agency, providing both in-prison and outside services to people involved in the criminal justice system. Esther was working at Local 1199 in the Bread and Roses Cultural Project. She called me and invited me to perform at several delegate assemblies held in the Poconos. I remember at first a sense of incongruity, singing at a fancy resort to a room full of underpaid healthcare workers. But it quickly changed to an almost euphoric feeling of, I have found my people, and led to this day, after many more years of involvement as a cultural worker in the labor movement. So thank you, Esther. I went on to become part of the staff at the UALE, Northeast Union Women's Summer School. While there, I developed a multimedia show on women's labor history called We Were There, taking the title from the summer school founder, one of the summer school founders, Barbara Wertheimer's book. Carolann and I will sing that title song a little later. I've been performing the show for over 30 years. It's a scripted show with readers drawn from whatever constituency we perform it for. It has real impact, both on the readers and the audience, as women are introduced to our history, most often for the first time. Carolann joined me 3 years ago in presenting the show. She more than shares the load, and I take comfort in knowing the show will go on when I'm no longer here. By the way, I was going to also mention that we are both members of Musicians Local 1000. And I'd like to give a shout out to the Brooklyn Women's Chorus, whose members showed up tonight. I founded the chorus in 1997 and directed it for 25 years. The chorus rehearses every Tuesday night, but they canceled their rehearsal tonight to come here. So thank you to my sisters. Do you want to raise your hands? I am proud to receive the Clara Lemlich Award. I learned about Clara in Annalise Orlick's wonderful book, Common Sense and a Little Fire, which I recommend to everybody. I share the honor with former honorees, with Barbara Dane, who was a mentor to me, and whose memorial in Berkeley, California, I just returned from, with Lois Gray, who I met at the Union Women's Summer School, and whose tribute Carolann and I sang at a couple of weeks ago, and with Alex Kate Schulman and Kathy Sarachild, who's sitting in the audience over there, my sisters in New York Radical Women, and with my sister nominees here tonight. Thank you to Esther and Rachel and all of the folks at LaborArts. Remember the Triangle Fire Coalition, and the New York Society for Ethical Culture. And thank you all for coming. And we are going to sing a song for you that I wrote back when the fire in Bangladesh, which so mimicked the Triangle Fire, happened. And it was just a devastating thing to read about. And it made me reflect upon the similarity between the two things. And in order to try to communicate a song about that, I wrote it in the words of a sewing machine. It's called I Am a Sewing Machine. I am a sewing machine, stitching your stylish new clothes. And right beside me, stitching, I just dropped the words, want to help me try that? And right beside me, others just like me, sit here neatly in rows. Sometimes one of us breaks down. We all have limits, you know. Me they fuss over, fix, make over, simply let go. Sometimes, I'm going to start again because I lost it. That's one of the things about getting older I'm noticing is I get a little aphasia. I'm going to leave this out. Try it again. She'll come in later. I am a sewing machine, stitching your stylish new clothes. And right beside me, others just like me sit here neatly in rows. My person works here each day. She can't be more than 15. She's constantly railed at, pushed, and assailed to work faster at her machine. Trade, stitch, overlock, drop, feed, never stop. My needle stitching all day. Persons, they come and go hired to make me so fired if they disobey. Sometimes she makes a mistake or answers to her body's need. They start to yell at her, make it hell for her to tell her she's worth less than me. Sometimes one of us breaks down. We all have limits, you know. Me they fuss over, fix, make over her. They simply let go. Chain, stitch, overlock, drop, feed, never stop. My needle stitch it all day. Persons, they come and go hired to make me so fine, they disobey. My needles around, up and down, flying too fast for the eye. Fabric is guided, fingers so small, till I hear a painful cry. Ay, ay, ay. I am a sewing machine, stitching your stylish new clothes. My person's 12-hour days. She can't afford what she sews. I sew in China, in El Salvador, Bangladesh, the Philippines. Cotton to satin, shirtwaist to blue jeans. I am a sewing machine. Cotton, satin, shirtwaist to blue jeans. I am a sewing machine.
I'm happy to introduce the person that we all would like to be the President of the United States, Gail Brewer.
I love being here today. I do not want to be President of the United States. I love being in the City Council on the West Side. And I love being here. I'm the oldest member of the City Council, and that's an interesting, and the older I get, the wiser I am, but the wiser I see all of these amazing awardees. I don't think I've missed one award ceremony, and I have to say, the people who get this award are the storytellers and the people behind our beloved New York City and all the efforts you made. So congratulations tonight. It's so exciting, I can't tell you. It's why. I see professors over there, but I'm just here to, like everybody else, to say that keeping this tradition with Esther and others alive all these different years is a real effort, but it's not an effort to find amazing people to honor. And that's what we're all about. I don't think there is any other organization doing what you all here for tonight. And of course, honoring Clara Lemlich and all the work that she did, labor organizing and just organizing in general. For me, like for you, I had this experience recently where I was in a park in New York. I don't know if it was either Midtown or downtown. And I was in that same park in 1979 fighting for abortion. And there I was again in 2025. That's a very strange feeling that all of those years, you're still back where you started in terms of the organizing that you're doing. So those stories have to be told. And that's why we're here today, to hear what it takes to make a difference in our very complicated city. I don't need to tell you that it's more needed now than ever. We know that, we know why. But to have the stories that you will hear and have heard from these honorees, I thank all of you for supporting them, for supporting the organization, and for Esther and others, and Rachel, to make it possible for us to hear the stories. Thank you very much. I love being the oldest member of the City Council. Thank you.
So thank you. And honorees, another round of applause. We are so we're so thrilled. One of the other sponsors of this event for all these years is the 21st Century ILGWU Heritage Foundation. And one of the things they make possible is interviews with all of our honorees, which will be on the LaborArts website in due time. We have stories from past honorees already there, and some of them are here in the house tonight. And if you could stand up, our previous honorees, I know there are a couple of people, and we're really thrilled to see you. You all know about the Triangle Fire, and you know about Clara Lemlich. Hopefully you also know that there's a memorial, an actual memorial on the building downtown to the Triangle Fire. It's mentioned in the program, and it could use some financial support to keep the education going and the cracks filled up if they should appear. So I'm asking for your support for that, and also if you are able to support LaborArts to keep this event going, we'd be delighted. There is incredible food in a reception downstairs that we hope you all will stay for. But first we have one final song, which everybody, I hope, will join in for.
We have plowed and we have planted, we have gathered into bars, done the same work as the men, with babies in our arms. But you won't find our story in most history books you read. We were there, we're still here, fighting for things we need. We were there in the factories, we were there in the mills, we were there in the mines and came home to fix the wheels. We were there on the picket lines, we raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. Yes, please sing along. From the textile mills in Lawrence to the sweatshops in New York, from the fields in California where our children had to work, we fought to make a living. Bread and roses was our cry. Though they jailed and beat our bodies, our spirits never died. We were there in the factories, we were there in the mills, we were there in the mines and came home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines, we raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. We were Polish, we were Irish, we were African and Jew, Italian and Latina, Chinese and Russian too. They tried to use our differences to split us all apart, but the pain we felt together touched the bottom of our heart. We were there in the factories, we were there in the mills, we were there in the mines and came home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines, we raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there. We are teachers, we are doctors, we are cooks and engineers, letter carriers, truck drivers, conductors and cashiers. We operate machinery, we fly the big airplanes, and we help to build our unions. We got struggle in our veins. We were there in the factories, we were there in the mills, we were there in the mines and came home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket line, we raised our voices loud. It makes me proud just knowing we were there in the factory, we were there in the mills, we were there in the mines and came home to fix the meals. We were there on the picket lines, we raised our voices loud. It makes me proud
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Fantastic, fantastic.